Mars is about to come into the sign of Libra. He'll be there from August the 27th to October 11th, and it's a time in which you can come into some crossroad decision making in your life as he aspects an asteroid that's all about those threshold choices and turning points. He's also going to come into some really interesting connections as well to another asteroid about where we want to go into a sense of divine intoxication and really go for something in our lives with gusto and passion, which Mars is really good at. And during this 6-week journey, there's a big energy coming up at the end of September, the first week of October, as he encounters the node of fate for the first time in 18 years, since 1987. It's the last time Mars in Libra met with the south node Ketu, where we can experience a place of perhaps some new deepening, a soulful deepening of where we want to move into divine agency and will, and away from our own personal life stories. And we may find that things that we eliminate in our lives, that we cut away and sever in the last week of September and beginning of October, can really open us up to a powerful new way of seeing the world and ourselves in general. But on that world scale, we'll be talking about the mundane astrology for the world. This is going to probably look like a stock market, a correction of great magnitude, or some economic downturn of great magnitude. I will explain why in the coming details ahead for the mundane section. If you're new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothe, and I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac. I am using whole sign houses, as we all are on YouTube. Go cast your chart in whole sign houses, not Placidus, to listen to all of us astrologers on YouTube. And if you want to do that and you don't know how, look at my description box below for the tutorial. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, and try me out. And if you're a regular, thank you for returning and helping this channel grow by about roughly 3,000 subs a month lately in the last few months. I so appreciate you guys supporting me in this work I love to do for you. So let's go ahead and talk about how this looks. Oh, and by the way, check out my description box for my readings, my classes. Sky Reader starts up in the 3rd week of September. You might want to jump into that. Doors will be open soon, but there's a wait list for early bird notice. That's 6 weeks of astrology learning from me in order for you to be your own astrologer and time your best life. So let's talk about Mars and let's talk about Libra. I mean, Mars in Libra isn't comfortable, because this is a sign that belongs to Venus. Ironically, Mars, who rules Scorpio, used to have that chunk of star space to himself. In the ancient Babylonian astrology, Libra was embedded within the Scorpio constellation. And, basically it was Mars's whole territory. And then it was later on the last constellation to be added into the 12 constellation way of seeing the sky, in order to have 12 pieces of real estate that we look at. And as well, it's the only one of these signs that doesn't relate to a form like an animal or a human, but rather is an object, the scales of justice, or the measuring scales, the weights of balance. And, technically we always think of that as peace and harmony and balance because it's Venus's sign, but it's also about divine justice, really. And that's because, like, for instance, in Egypt, the scales were, when you died, and Libra precedes Scorpio, which is the underworld. When you died, you were tested. A feather, Mot, the goddess of divine justice in Egypt, would put a feather on the scale and your soul on the other side of the scale. And basically, if the scale tipped, if your soul wasn't as light as a feather, you had to reincarnate. So there's a deeper archetype to Libra than just like the scales of justice or the law, the long arm of the law, or balance, peace, and harmony. There's a deeper meaning there. The other thing I want to say about Libra sometimes is that it also connects to markets and the stock markets and the economy, and people often don't think of it that way. To me, it's like when you want to go get that, think of Shakespeare, the pound of flesh, right? And Shylock and the Merchant of Venice, you need to weigh things, right? Weigh scales are how commerce and transactions have been done forever. Check that ounce of gold and you're going to, say, oh, this is how much you owe me, or you're going to put the, veggies on the scale and see how much that works out to and how much you owe because of the weight of an object. So bottom line, scales are also commercial scales. And I feel like that's why when I talk about the mundane astrology shortly, you're going to see, holy moly, it is that south node, right? It is having Ketu in Libra for the first time with Mars since 1987, where the two of them are meeting here, that we saw, by the way, Black Monday. We're going to talk about all the stock market crashings that have happened historically when Mars meets the South Node K2 in the sign of Libra, and it's coming up this October 2nd, 3rd. So we're back again, but it's even more intense than ever. Some of you don't like mundane astrology, and I get that. So, but I do encourage you to listen to the mundane, because I'm going to talk about big concepts around stars and asteroids that you might want to know for yourself when we get to the individual all signs portion of our time together today. I want to say one more thing. I want to talk about the dates. I'm going to show you the sky. I'm going to take you through it. This is a bit of a long video, and I want you to get a cup of coffee, maybe, and also a pen and paper, because it'd be good to jot down the dates I will give you for all signs, okay? But before we even get there, it's sort of like I'm going to start off by saying, here's this date, here's that date, here's that date, between August 27th and October 11th. And it's easier if you just have a pen handy to jot them down and take note of what these big Mars stories will be this next 6 weeks. All right. Now, first of all, stock market corrections, economic corrections, recessions, bear markets in the stock market. These are all themes that happen when Mars and the South Node come together. Not always perfectly. Some of them are close, but not quite. But I'm going to give you a contemporary historical data set. You can go do your own research. I did it, so I'm not making this stuff up. It is just history. And this history coincides with the every 18 years to 20-year cycle of the South Node going through the sign of Libra, and Mars, which he does every 2 years, go through the sign of Libra, and that is a synodic cycle of Mars South Node in Libra. So let's go back in time and talk about the way back machine here of 1912. In 1912, Mars met with the South Node in Libra. Nothing happened. However, in 1910 and 1911, it was called the Panic of 1910 to 1911. It had to do with an anti-monopoly act being enforced by the government, put into action to keep companies from just dominating a space without competition, called the Sherman Act, and the stock markets dropped 26%. And there was a couple of years of turbulence there, and it was close but not quite. So I will give you that. That South Node Mars story really happened in 1912. But there's just something about it, being close to it. I'm just bringing it up for you guys. Then in 1931, there was the actual earnest beginning of the Great Depression. I will be doing a whole video on this one, but this is a very important one. During the 1931 timeframe, I'm going to tell you, it was a huge, people go, oh, the Great Depression started, they all think, used to think that in 1929 with the big 1929 stock market collapse. That's not actually how it worked out. I went and did a lot of reading about this to learn for myself. In 1931, it was when we began what we now call in earnest, the Great Depression. And it was a global depression with, lines of people waiting for bread and food and incredibly poor employment rates, terrible unemployment. So in 1931, 2,294 banks went down with nearly 1.7 billion in deposits. 28,000 businesses failed, for a daily rate of 133 businesses failing every single day in 1931. Unemployment rose to 16%, okay? The US GDP fell to 77 billion and growth was minus 8.5. Inflation was 9.3. Minus 9.3. I'm giving you these stats. Now, it was global. It was a sort of collapse. Bank failures in Central Europe, cascades. Austria's premier bank, crashed. There were bank runs in Austria. I'm just glancing at some of my notes, Belgium, etc. The Federal Reserve's funds rates bottomed out at 1.5% in May of 1931. Long story short, 1931 was the beginning of a series of economic disasters that led to the Great Depression. The stock market had already crashed starting in 1929. So what we're talking about here is 1931's beginning of the Great Depression. And during that time, we had Uranus in the sign of Taurus, where he is now. We also had Pluto squaring the South Node in Libra, squaring Mars conjunct the South Node in Libra, because at that time, Pluto was in the sign of Cancer in a 90-degree angle, or a square, a square to this nodes of fate energy with Mars. All right. I bring that up because we're back again, right? And we're going to get to that, but this same square exists this year from Pluto and Capricorn. Capricorn in the United States natal Sibly chart, by the way, is the US second house, which has to do with its cash reserves and its savings and money that the government can use. So that's not so great, is it? No, it's the possessions and resources of the government itself. And it's where Pluto is sitting at 29, 27, 28 cap, moving backwards retrograde right now. So it's a retrograding Pluto going back over old ground that started during the pandemic. And that was when the Federal Reserve of the United States poured a bunch of money into the economy. And there was all this quantitative easing and printed money, so to speak, so that we could, get through the pandemic. Canada did the same thing. Most countries did. But we're going to see that that's coming back to haunt the US in particular, but the world in general, as Pluto retrogrades through Capricorn through to next January. It simply means to me incredible economic turbulence as old economic turbulence stories reemerge for inspection as Pluto digs it all back up again. Okay, so in January 22nd, we'll get the heck out of Pluto again and move into Aquarius, but we're still dealing with this stuff. Now, a lot of people may not care about the stock markets, but it will affect every level of our lives or the economy in general. So I'm going to continue with this narrative of the times that things happen. The next time we saw K2, the South Node, meet with Mars and Libra, those scales of commerce, right, was 1950. Nothing happened, but there was the recession that began, the recession of 1953. Just like in 1912, there was the panic sell-off in 1910 and 11, and then we had that K2 Mars Libra. In 1950, 2 years later, we had the K2 Mars Libra. So I'm seeing a pattern of close but not quite with 1950 and 1912. In 1968, but it still had a connection within a certain framework of this cycle. 1968 was the next time Mars came into contact with K2 South Node in the sign of Libra. And you're going like 1968, what happened? Well, it was the beginning of a 2-year bear market in the stock market. Okay, I'm not going to go into details why. And here we are in 2023. It's back again. Won't see it again until 2042. I'm more concerned with 1931 because of the square from Pluto to Mars to the South Node, meaning essentially that it has a similar feel to me as 1931. I think we're looking at a very large global shift in the way economies work, and the way the world will look will be very different over the course of the next 3 years as a result of what we're seeing happening in the fall of 2023. Now, don't worry. Your own life is not this thing, but and I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I a medical advisor, but just be cautious, right? About where you put money right now. If you're one of those like last in, like a Ponzi scheme, to a market that pretends that things are okay in any kind of market, whether it's real estate, stocks, whatever, that beware, just be very careful right now. That's my humble advice. Okay. Not telling you what else to do. The last thing I want to say about this is that unlike before and any of the other times I've been talking about, this Libra Mars connection is happening on the star Spica Arcturis with a conjunction to an asteroid that represents wealth and prosperity. And her name is Ops, or good things. Ops can mean opportunity. Ops can mean thrival. Ops can mean it's the wife of Saturn, a daughter of Jupiter. Mother of Jupiter. It can mean happy endings after a time of great difficulty. Keep all of that in mind. So Ops is sitting up there with the South Node, with two stars, Arcturis and Spica, who are sitting at 24 degrees of Libra. And the South Node is right up there as well at 26 degrees of Libra. And Mars is going to bump into the whole gang. So we have all of this energy that's very active in the part of the sky that represents Libra. And we'll be showing this to you as we move through the picture of the sky. But I don't like this because the South Node takes things away. Really is not that Rahu North Node, a grab, get, attain. It leaks, it releases, it surrenders, it pulls things away, it disappoints. It's a place of loss. The South Node is a place of loss because it's taking away the perks of the matrix so that we can get down with our soul. The South Node isn't here to punish us. It's like the most spiritual planet in Vedic astrology that is literally the way we wake up, moksha, spiritual liberation. So if it comes into contact with stars that usually represent success, money, and wealth, prosperity, especially Arcturus, but also Spica, and Spica's luck and goodness as well, and along comes this south node, just think about like a big hole in the bottom of a boat or a bucket, or it's Libra, some kind of vacuum, like the airplane has a vacuum leak with a hole in it, or the spaceship has a vacuum suction leak, and out goes the goodness of Arcturus, out goes the goodness of Spica, out goes the goodness of ops for opportunity and happy endings. It's just not a good place to find Mars as well, because Mars is what we need to end, cut, sever. Mars is sharp. Mars is bold. Mars is not feeling so well. He's in Libra. He has to listen to Venus, right? That's the Lord of the sign. And she's busy for part of this until September 4th, retrograding. Then she moves direct in the sign of Leo, but she keeps bumping into a couple of things. She's hanging out with Hecate, the triple thresholds goddess. Go straight, left, or right, make your decision. She's hanging with Juno, the goddess of partnerships. But the Lord of Mars, who's taking care of what he's up to, who's watching over him as he gallivants through her Libra house, is also never really quite making contact with Mars. She's trying so hard, guys, so hard. Let me show you this guy, but they never quite perfect what's called a sextile, but they're so close through a lot of the month of September, from like the 20th to the 28th. They keep trying to catch each other and they don't quite make it, and they won't quite make it. Okay. So there's a thing there about how Venus wants to soothe Mars and give him some really good instruction in a positive way, but she never quite makes the connection with him, and he never quite makes the connection with her. Indeed, we're on what we call a synodic cycle with Mars Venus. It started in February and March of 2022 when they had a conjunction, and will complete in February 24. I'm going to do a whole video on this. And so there's this attempt for Venus to catch Mars, but she can't. And she won't catch Mars, and that means something. It means something important. The last time the two of them caught each other in a sextile was March of 2023, and they were in different signs. Venus was in Aries and Mars was in Gemini. So this sextile ain't happening, and it's a close but not quite, and they're missing the boat because Venus is coming off a retrograde, and that means she's moving slower than she normally does, and Mars is moving faster than Venus, which is totally not normal, but it's because Venus is coming off of retrogradation after she has been in Leo for ever retrograding, and so she cannot catch Mars in time. The goddess of peace, harmony, and goodness cannot catch the god of war. The goddess of good things and wonder, prosperity, and goodness, is a crow on my branch out there, cannot get in touch with Mars. They have a staticky line at best. They don't perfect the connection. So I don't like that. And it feels like, given that Venus is also a goddess of money, she's also not able to get into the picture to make sure things work out. So I'm going to say, and I know I'm a bummer, but your all sign part won't be like that. So please listen in for some of the positive things that are coming, but please be aware that there's a strong chance at the end of September and the beginning of October, the issues of money, economy, stock markets, and even war are having some difficulty. I'll give you one last story. Mars might try to fight for peace in Libra. He might try to go, well, I gotta give me a job. I'm here. I think it's Austin Kopek always says Mars likes to have a job to do, and he doesn't know what he's doing. He's not feeling well. Well, here we have Venus not knowing literally how to help him because she can't make direct contact in that sextile they almost make. And he's in the sign of peace, like the peacekeepers, the cobbling together a treaty of some kind, working on peace negotiations, a very Libra content, also things to do with courts and court systems, like the Supreme Court maybe of USA. And Mars is going to do his best. He's going to try to fight for peace, fight for balance, fight for harmony, take direct, bold action for all of those things. And the poor guy doesn't get any support from the Lord of the house. She can't really connect to him in an actually perfected aspect, only in a general aspect of a whole sign aspect sextile. She's busy with her own shit with Hecate and Juno flanking her. And I think Mars will fight for peace and he'll fight for balance. but I don't think it's going to work. So if there's like a downturn in the stock markets and there's a fight to correct it, or if there's some kind of economic announcements that are gnarly and the banks try to correct it, if there's more bank collapses and the U.S. government tries to correct it, or if there's almost a peace treaty for Ukraine and it doesn't quite happen, all of these things wouldn't surprise me. End of September and the first couple of weeks of October, none of that surprises me. Don't forget, it's October 11th that Mars gets the heck out of Libra, moves into his own sign of Scorpio. Now it's a whole other story there. He's going to go into the heart of the sun in Scorpio around November 17th, and that's a big video I'll be doing. Okay, so let me show you the sky, then we'll do the all signs portion. Hope I haven't scared you guys. If you're in the live premiere with me, please hit my like button. If you're one of my regulars, Farrell Ryder, Ace of Spades, Misbehaving, L.A. Taylor, Michael Thrash, Jupiter 8, Stephen the Jupiterian, Big, Bold and Beautiful Tarot, Herbal Empress, Crystalline Alchemist, Our Soul Songs. Thank you for being a part of my crew and supporting my channel. And don't forget as well, hit that like button. So here we have a story of the sky. Hope everyone can see that. And I want to just say there's Mars at 0 degrees of Libra. Now get your pen. This is where you need your pen, because when I do all signs, I'm going to talk about one simple thing. I'm not going to talk about everything. Okay. I'm going to talk about one of the features. And ironically, I'm going to talk about the Mars opposite Chiron around September 24th, because I think that's going to be a very specific and useful bit of information that you can use in the all signs. The rest of it's very complicated. We have wedges. We have, complicated wedges, and I'll be doing individual videos during the month about that. Now, you can see that Mars is here at 0 degrees, and I want you to watch who he does and doesn't talk to. I'm going to teach you to look at the sky by watching the planet move, and we'll set the dates through the motion of the heavens. So Mars is moving along, and he's making no contact with anybody. Here he's at 3 degrees of Libra by September 2nd, and it's boring as all hell, right? You can see that nobody else is conversing with him. He's on his own, doing his own thing. Mr. I'm all by myself. I can do what I want. So he's got no supervision. He's got no conversations with anyone. Venus is over here at 13 degrees watching him, but no actual aspectual, real serious completed connection. And now I'm already to September 14th. And you're probably wondering what's going on at September 14th as Mars is at 11 degrees of the sign of Libra. He's coming into a connection called a trine to Hygeia. Now I want you to think about this air trine, flow, ease, opportunity, grace, luck, goodness of a Jupiter energy. Trines are the nature of Jupiter. I want you to put in your calendar something like September 13th to the probably 17th, okay? When this is perfecting. It's really tight on the 15th, the 16th, the 17th, the 18th. There, I go to there. So between those dates of, September the 13th to the 18th, maybe, look for some opportunity in your life to heal something in your story that connects to your Aquarius 11th house. That's where you need to know your rising sign. Ideally, sun and moon you could use derivatively. For an Aries rising, Hygeia is the 11th house, a healing in the great gains from your career, a healing in your dreams and wishes for your life, a healing in your relationship to an elder sibling, a healer in your relationship to your friendship circles. Mars is helping effect a healing, and through mechanisms of the 7th house, legal contracts, partnerships, agreements, business partnerships. Now, I have a PDF that's free. Go grab it. It's how to, the deep meanings of the houses, the 12 signs, the deep meanings of the 12 houses PDF free download is all in my description box. Scroll to the bottom for my freebies section. That will help you understand your chart without me telling you how to understand your chart every time. Use whole sign houses. There's a free tutorial video on how to cast your chart in whole sign houses in my description box. Then as Mars is continuing, so we stopped there, we got the middle of the month one that's ending around the 18th of September, and we're going to continue to watch Mars as we see him right here, trundling forward, right, moving forward. And let me just also add another asteroid, maybe. I want to see if this asteroid has any role. I meant to add her earlier and I forgot. I think she's a she in my humble opinion, but that's just my way of seeing her. She may not play a role. Does she? Yes, she does. There's Abundantia. So ops and Abundantia. Mars is there. Mars is cutting, ending, severing. South Node is lost, disappointment, right? And abundance and opportunity. Abundance. Okay, so we have Abundantia getting into the muck as well. This is a very unusually interesting literal sky that we're seeing, where if we're going to have a stock market correction or an economic downturn or the beginning of a recession of some sort, certainly Mars cutting abundance, Mars cutting opportunity, South Node releasing and loss. This is all very suspicious. I'm going to go with history, guys. Okay, I told you the history already in the beginning. Okay, we continue to move Mars forward, looking for his next major story, right? That's all I'm doing. I'm looking for when he talks to somebody next. I don't do inconjuncts. We're not going to talk about Jupiter. He's in an aversion to Jupiter. So just hold your horses on the Jupiter story. So as Mars is coming into the 20th degree, he wants to meet with Venus. Like you can see that Venus is here, but they're not going to make a connection, guys. It's not going to be perfected. So he's in a broad energetic connection to Venus all through, well, let's just say the 23rd. She's at 17, 18. Yeah. So you can kind of say that there's a feeling of something soft and maybe going to work out. Let's say between September 21st, even September 20th, all the way to the 28th. And I would say that it's a bit of a fake out. You know what I mean? Like it's not, it's like a fake it till you make it on something here. But for the world, unfortunately, it may look like, oh, we see a little bit of stock market turbulence or something's not so great with the another major U.S. bank collapse, but it's all sort of pasted over with a sort of what do you call it? A PR gloss by Venus and Leo. And that pasting over is going to be something we need to consider. Is it true, or is it just a sort of a spin story to keep everybody calm? Like, stay calm, everybody, stay calm, that kind of vibe. Partly that, and partly it could be something else. And we always have Neptune and we have Saturn over here. I just didn't put them in because that's an aversion and they'll make no real contact. Moving forward, and Jupiter is retrograding, by the way, but we'll talk about that in another video. I want to say I'll be doing a whole bunch of videos here coming up this month on Venus, as she's with. You're going to see some celestial magic. It's going to be Venus, Juno, and Hecate, the threshold goddess, partnerships in business and love, all coming into a really critical energy together in a triple conjunction. That's going to be interesting, if not exciting. That's a whole other video for a Venus story. But let's keep going with Mars at 18 degrees. He's going forward in the Venus's sign. Here you can see that now. Let me go back. Yeah, right here on September 24th, he's not making any direct contact at all with any of these planets in any meaningful way that's precise. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not precise. Well, watch this one. Here's Hercules, the asteroid Hercules, and it's sitting on Chiron. And you're going to see that we have an opposition between Mars, the Chiron, the wounded one, the wounded healer, and Hercules, the 12 labors thereof. But Hercules also slaughtered his family. I mean, it's not a good story. So we might be looking at some really deep, intense content going on in the world here. September 23rd, 24th, 25th, as Mars opposes Chiron, who is the mentor for warriors, the one who taught the warriors to be noble. Hercules was also a hero warrior energy. And here we have Mars in opposition. I could say fallen soldiers. Terrible news or information coming out about war stories, devastation and loss of life of soldiers, something like that, or warriors, or difficulty in those war stories coming up through the sky around the third week of September. It could be hidden stories that are revealed, by the way, as well, that we didn't know, and now we find out. Moving into the future here, Mars is at 20 degrees, and there's Spica, and there's Abundantia, the horn of plenty, and there's Ops trundling forward. Who does Mars, if anybody, talk to next? I just love doing the clickety-click through the sky. And we see him coming into a connection with Juno. So, hey, write this down, October 2nd, if you need to, want to, would like to maybe have some kind of agreement about a business partnership in your life, or a vow of fidelity to somebody, your monogamy, there's someone you're with, or a wedding development or a relationship development. It could be going on here, and Mars would be taking action to commit, taking action to commit in business and love stories. Okay, so that's something that could be happening around October 1st and 2nd or so. And we keep moving Mars forward. And now he's coming into the stars, Arcturis and Spica at 24 degrees. So he's being lit up by those stars that are behind him as he's in the sign of Libra, and he's moving away from the sun. As you can see, the sun is here, right? And I mean, well, the sun's trying to catch up to him, and he will eventually be in the heart of the sun in November. But right now we see he's with these stars, and we see that as he continues to move into the future, he's going to come into contact with Abundantia and Ops. Now, this is where things get really intense around October the 4th, October the 5th, October the 6th, October the 7th. He's at 27 degrees. We get Ops out of the story, but he's still coming close and close and close. There's the South Node. There's Mars has been over the South Node. Does he catch Abundantia? Let me find out. He doesn't quite catch them yet, but he will when we get into Scorpio. So we're still talking about, all through October, this turbulence around abundant stock markets, things like that. But going back, here's the thing to watch out for in our lives. And we'll be doing individual videos about that. So not today. We're going to tap into the Chiron Mars opposition on September the 24th. But look at the South Node and Mars, Arcturus and Spica, October 3rd, right? October 3rd is pretty precisely when this intensity is happening. If you're going to have any turbulence, and there's Eris, the goddess of disruption, the shit disturber, so to speak. She's definitely been a part of our story. One of the new subvariants of COVID is called Eris even, but we see Mars and we see Eris and we see the nodes of fate and we see markets. I see markets, okay? I do. I see things to do with stock markets, investments worldwide, things like that. Things don't look so solid. In the United States Sibly Chart, this is the 11th house. 11th house is the great gains from the 10th. What gains does a 10th house leader have? This is Joe Biden. This is the Democrats, for example. Well, they have great gains from being the leaders of their country, and the gains that they receive are things like a prosperous economy, a great GDP, a stable, fruitful, prosperous nation. Well, those gains aren't going to be seen as great gains because Mars is cutting and the South Node is depleting and creating loss with the stars for wealth, with Abundantia and Ops here. It's like the opposite of what you would want in a house of great gains. That's all I'll say. The US chart, I think a lot of this turbulence is beginning epicenter in the United States. And the housing market will be included in that as well. We have Diana in the sign of Cancer, which represents our domiciles, our domestic life, our safety, our nest, our home. That's one of the meanings of the sign of Cancer. Diana is the huntress taking aim with her two hounds, but she's also an archer. She's taking aim at things. And she's also the protector of women in childbirth. And we have Mars squaring her. That's also a bit unsettling as well. There will be stories, unfortunately, to do with mothers, stories to do with homes and real estate and safety that are going to be very difficult during this time. By the time we get to October 3rd, we'll still have Mercury at the tail end of his own sign, but he will move into Libra. Why don't we add him? And then we're going to do the all signs, okay? But we will add him. Let's put Mercury back in the story. I took him out just for... I didn't want to clutter the chart, but let's do it the whole clutter. Okay. And we'll put them back in. So let's take a look. There we are. Juno also represents money, coinage, coins. Her other name is Moneta. So we have the goddess of coins, minting coins, right? Moneta, Juno's other nature, with goddess of money, Venus, who never did catch a real direct hookup with Mars. And this is also to be considered unsettling, okay? And we have this goddess Diana here for the protector of women in childbirth, midwives and stuff, independent, fierce, unmarried female, but also she's in a house to do with home and safety. And Mars is having a difficult conversation with her. So this can be a real downturn October 3rd, also into the month of October in the real estate market in various parts of the world, but probably and most certainly in the United States as well. So keep that also in mind. I know it's a bit of a bummer, guys. I realize I'm making everybody feel ultimately depressed. There's Diana at 27. There's Mars at 27. That square continues to beleaguer everyone to October the 8th. This looks like maybe the housing market is definitely in some sense of disruption. And Mars is at 29 degrees. Mercury is here. This is the news, right? Mercury's telling us marketing, merchandising, stock markets, news, information. Mercury rules stock markets, you know? Mercury is a symbol for the U.S. stock markets. And there he is. Ooh, and we got Uranus in the sign of Taurus, the bull, disrupting. Things to do with markets, but especially agriculture, currencies, and this is a symbol, the bull, for the U.S. stock market, but maybe a disruption to the bull market, especially with God of prosperity retrograding. So there's been an ongoing long-term bull market that got fueled by the pandemic, fueled by quantitative easing. A bunch of money flooded the system. The rich got richer, the poor got poorer, and things are about to change. So when I see Mercury getting into this act with the sun, look at that Libra stellium, and you think there's nothing going on in the stock markets in October? If you do, you're deluded. Starting October 5th, get ready for things to shake up, all right? And don't wish it on anyone. There's Pluto squaring Mars, Pluto squaring the node, Pluto being a part of that square energy we saw in 1931. So that was a bit depressing, if I do say so. But we're going to do all signs because it won't be all so depressing for all signs. I'm liking a few things this transit for all of us. As the all signs go on, I'm going to talk about what it means for your sign in general to have Mars moving through Libra, based on the whole sign house system and the assumption of a rising sign. And then I'm also going to talk about the Mars opposite Chiron on September 24th or so, give or take 3 days on either side. That's going to be an opportunity to decisively heal something because Mars and Chiron actually get along. All right. They're okay in Greek mythology, right? So there's something that Mars will try to do. They have differing agendas. An opposition is like, I want this, you want that. You know, it's like when the kid wants a freaking lollipop at the store at the checkout and is having the fight with the mother. That's the oppositional energy, oppositional defiant disorder. But oppositions bring tension that bring resolution. So when we look at that opposition between Mars and Chiron around September 14th, the breaker of the tension is going to be Juno. She's going to be at the tip of a wedge, and that's going to tell us how to resolve this tension between those two planets, Mars, Chiron with Hercules, and Juno on the 24th of September for your sign. If you're in the live premiere and you haven't hit the like button, please do so. We're going to get started. I just need to refresh myself with some water. Hey guys, I forgot to mention my Patreon community is amazing and I have a promotion on. If you join my Patreon community this month in September, you're going to get, or even end of August, you're going to get a bunch of freebies from me, okay? Like my 2023 All Signs videos that used to be for sale now, they still are for $44 for free. You're going to get 2 classes I'll be teaching at the end of August, but you'll get them for free. Like you get the replays for free. That's not normal. I don't do that all the time. That's the value there is something like it's $80 for nothing just to try me out on Patreon. So give me a check, try me out. Patreon community is below in my description box. See if you like it. You get a lot of shit from me there. Everything's ad-free early access. And we do private meetings up to 3 a month, depends on your tier, where you're in a Zoom room with me in small group settings and we're talking astrology and learning together. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the sky yet again. And don't forget to check out my Sky Reader class as well. So I'm going to go through the all signs, and as I do, listen for your rising sign. That's going to likely be most accurate. Listen for your sun, and that will likely be about career, purpose, father, moon, mother figures, body, health, sometimes moon, home. But your sun sign and moon sign are not that specific to who you are, right? The moon changes signs every 2.5 days, the sun every 30 days, but your rising sign changes signs, every 2 hours. So it's definitely more precise than the other two. And plus your identity, when you come into the reality, slice into the reality and you're born, your rising sign represents the moment of birth. The degree represents that moment of birth and the alignment of the eastern horizon to the tropical zodiac constellation of the time of your birth. And so it has a lot to do with everything about you, It's a steering wheel of your chart, that first house. Okay. Whew. All right, so we're going to do all signs. Let's get started. Okay, so let's just switch it up and go back into the share so you guys can see it and my sister can timestamp. Some people don't like when I do it this way, other people love it. I know I can use different software. I'm just using Zoom to give me more space here and make me larger. I know I could have done it that way, but I didn't. Oh, I lost my own face. I didn't mean to do that. At least you can see me up here. Let's get going, guys. So first of all, if you are an Aries sun, moon, or rising sign, what you're noticing here around the 24th of September is this wedge in the sky, and that is a aspect pattern of tension between the wounded healer, Chiron, but also the mentor of healers and heroes. The node of fate is here, of course, Rahu, North Node, but also Hercules, you know, the 12 labors and the heroic nature of this part of the sky. Hercules is that hero archetype, warrior archetype, and an opposition here to Mars. And Mars making this opposition is going to create a tension. It's going to be a moment in your Aries, I'm not an Aries, I'm Sag. Oh my God, I'm not going to edit. I don't have patience to edit. I've never started with Sag. Isn't that funny? Let's start with Sag today. Let's break the rules. And bust out? No, because when I bust out, then people get confused. They really do. If you're in the live premiere, then people are all like gnarly about it. I know what happened. I forgot. I know why it's like that. We should have been set up properly. Okay, just ignore what I'm saying. The timestamps will be such that you're going to be fine at the end of the day. Trust me. But at least you can see that wedge clearly, right? Happy wedge moment for everybody. Let's get Aries up first. I just want to make sure I don't lose the wedge. Maybe better off going backwards and keeping the wedge. Here comes Aries. Yeah. So we're talking about the 24th of September. Give it 3 days before, 3 days after, at the very least. Aries, Aries, Aries. Okay, Nancy, my time tamping sister, let's go. Aries, sun, moon, and rising. What you have here is you've got this tension going on in your sky that it happens to do with your significant others in your life. This is your marriage partner. This is your business partner. This is your audience, clients, and others. Now, first of all, this can be a time in which your partner is going through a difficult time. Your love partner, marriage partner, business partner, or some of your clients. It may not even be about you, because the 7th house are those other people that you encounter. Mars here means irritable, angry, passive aggressive tension energy. That person may be experiencing problems, not you. But you can see that we have the South Node here as well, and we have this opposite. So there's a sense of something's there's a depletion going on, Aries rising, especially sun and moon, over the next 2 years. As you get this sort of testing 1, 2, 1, 2, is this relationship going to work? Is this significant business partnership going to work? Is this way I meet my clients, audience, and marketplace going to work? South Node can change it for you over the next couple of years. But here, on the time of the 24th, give or take 3 days, you're going to come to some kind of decision moment, or your partner is. A decisive moment, decisions, action must be taken, but there's some opposition coming from your corner. You are acting like Chiron and Hercules, the 12 labors with his muscle hands. Do you feel like you have to be heroic and steadfast and also act maybe like this guide and mentor to some difficult client, difficult marriage partner, difficult business partner who's in either a combative mode or just having to fight their own battles, and you're on the sideline trying to be of use, but also frustrated, maybe even feeling like, wow, like this is not my problem, why do I have to have a dog in this fight that my partner's going through? And you'll see that the way you break that tension is Juno. Juno at 19 degrees here is going to be able to resolve the problem. Basically, she's like, oh, okay, let's see. Let's make a pact. Let's have a vow. Let's have an agreement. Let's have a commitment about having a child, about that risky speculative gaming investment strategy. Let's have some agreements or vows or fidelity to what's going on with one of our children. These are your children. With Venus here, it's a fertility transit, and if you're an Aries rising sun or moon, you're very likely to even encounter the possibility of pregnancy. And this has been true since June, will be true till October 7th. And this can be a time with Hecate, the thresholds goddess, where you're making a major decision, Aries, about a massive business project, entrepreneurial endeavor, or fertility, real pregnancy, or even a romance. Do you want to commit to that person or not? And you're thinking you do, but there's this opposition from the 7th house. So you want to marry this person, commit to this person, make a solid relationship, gain with this person, and what? Your business partner objects, your marriage partner objects, There's legal entanglements that are getting in the way, legal contracts, that's the 7th house. Finally, there's a sense sometimes when I see Mars in the 7th that he's trying to clean things up. So if you've had any long-standing relationship in play, Mars will come in there and he'll start to prune it. That means he'll take things away, cut away, sever. And it can mean an end to the relationship. Now, normally Mars comes through here every 2 years, and it's not like every 2 years you come to an end of a relationship, obviously. But with the South Node there, you're at risk this time frame all the way through to October 11th, honestly, of having a major blowout with a significant love, marriage, or business partnership or client audience, and having to deal with that as well. So watch for that. I love that Juno's trying to break the tension though around the 24th, and she's trying to offer up with Venus even some solid way for you to make peace and harmony with crossroads and thresholds decisions around commitment and steadfast stuff, okay, in love, with your children, with pregnancy, fertility, and entrepreneurship. Okay, so Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. This is a story, Taurus, where you're looking at this oppositional energy between Mars in your 6th house and Chiron and Hercules in your 12th. Now, hey, Chiron in the 12th can be a spiritual guide, teacher, mentor, therapist who works really hard, labors hard to support you in something as you heal a self-defeating, self-undoing strategy, addiction, or bad habit, and the way you fall away from yourself because you keep screwing your life up. And as this is happening, Mars is going to be taking something to task here, right? He's like certainly on it, right? So hang on a sec. I honestly need eye drops today. So Mars is going to be, okay, guy, somebody in your coworker space, office, employee, or your employment setting could be having a difficult time getting fired, quitting the job, or being combative toward you. You earlier in the month when Hygeia was talking to Mars, you may have been trying to heal a combative, difficult work situation, but now we're coming into some crisis mode with those work situations. You may want to leave a job, quit a job. Someone in your workplace may quit a job, but it's also working to your benefit to kind of restore a sense of order to your own self-undoing, sabotaging patterns and habits. I find Juno here with Venus kind of thing, and the crossroads goddess could be putting you into major decisions you need to make around where you live, especially if you rent a property or if it involves major life changes and decisions around pets. These are themes that could be very much going on in your life around September 24th at 3 days before and after. You might need to move because of work, and you're wondering if you need to rent a new place. You might need to get rid of a pet, and you can't believe it, but you know the new place you're going to move to doesn't take pets, and you're trying to rehome a pet. Charitable situations of the 12th house as well. Maybe there's a sense of having to be of good charity work and service, and yet there's this tension to do with how things are moving in your home. I mean, there's goodness in your home, and there's tension between the house of work and the house of service. And let me go with one more angle. Chiron can represent medical people. Maybe there's a need to engage a medical practitioner or therapist or psychologist to help you become more connected to what you value from your childhood, what childhood elements be by being raised, 4th house childhood. In your life growing up, there's almost like a childhood healing of a childhood wound, possible around the 24th of the month for a lot of Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and practical issues to do with property as well. Again, some of you may need to release a property, rent a property, something like that, or clear a debt by selling a property, and choices and decisions are being made around September 24th around that story. Alrighty, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. We have all that Libra action in your 5th house, holy weight, right? Holy weight, but it's trining you, it's flowing to you, it's good for you, it's easy for you. I don't mind this at all for you. Nonetheless, we do have Mars here, and you could quarrel with your lover. You could have fights with your children. You could be separated from your children. You may be denesting a child. These are all options here. And as Mars is moving through here, there's a point in the sky which he comes into an opposition on the 24th of September to Chiron and Hercules in the house of your allies and friends, also elder sibling, also great gains from your career. Now, here's the thing. Chiron up here can often look like some kind of guide, right? Some kind of like person you would lean on to give you some advice or guidance, who maybe, gives you the old Hercules, 12 labors in order to heal what's ailing you. And you may have this objection from a child, or objection from a child that exists in your life to what you're doing to create career gains in your life. Maybe they think you're off base on your career, because your 12th house could be those gains in your career. Mars in your 5th house, though, is also a transit that can look like passionate, focused will and energy to get 5th house things done. And this is going to be ongoing, right? August 27th to October 11th. I should have said that for everybody. I mean, that's the general meaning of that. You might be really passionate and balanced in that passion about your projects, your entrepreneurship, your creativity, your sex life, your romance life. But there's some tension here around the 24th you might want to watch out for. And it could be even a friend objecting to, your the one you're with, your lover, or something like that. I do think that the connection to Juno and Venus is like committed love and romantic love are bound together in the 3rd house of the local neighborhood with crossroads decisions. This is kind of funny, but on September 24th, give or take a few days, you might have to make a simple but decisive decision around what you want to do in that local neighborhood regarding a love story. Maybe expand the neighborhood, change your neighborhood, change where you live for some of you, okay? Especially as Mercury is spending so long in your 4th house. Some of you Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising may be thinking of moving, and it may have to do with a romantic love story and some concern about it, because that means separating from where your grown children live, for example. A trip, a travel opportunity, or a travel plan can be hatched September 24th, 2 or 3 days on either side. And it would be about committed love and maybe even business partnerships that involve travel and trips. And those trips and travel can be very much a catalyst for breaking tension between a house of romance and a house of friendships, a house of great gains from your career because you're working your ass off if you're a Gemini, right? Saturn is way up here in your 10th house. Oh my goodness gracious. And you're going to be working really hard to be an expert, authority, master, and succeed at the top of a mountain of your career. And then maybe even leave a career path at the end of this transit in 2026. So maybe you need to spend less time working, more time loving. I do think Bacchus, the god of divine intoxication in the relationship and marriage house, and a nice sextile forming to Mars is like, why don't you get divinely intoxicated with love itself, with being in committed love, with romance, with passion and passion projects. Last thing I'll say, passion projects that involve writing can be tackled with great success August 27th to October 11th. That's Mars in your 5th house and that Venus energy in your 3rd. Major life decisions, however, and crossroads actions can be made around neighborhoods, children, things to do with writing and things to do with your online website and business, but in a positive way. Last, if you're a Gemini rising in the online world, this could bring you into contact with a new alliance, usually a female business partnership, turning point decisions that incite great passion, ardor, and momentum in your entrepreneurial life. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and especially rising sign. Well, in this sky, we have Mars moving through Libra. And hey, he's going to be here August 27th to October 11th. Hopefully you listen to the intro. Every 2 years, he goes through your 4th house. You may change your home. You may renovate your home, maybe do construction in the home. You may move or travel from home. You may have fighting in the home. Be careful for domestic squabbles, difficulty, and arguments in the home. Now, that said, it's not a great place for you, by the way. And we don't like this. I don't like this anyway. I don't like this. I mean, if you're a Cancer rising, this nodal transit through your 4th house, especially if you're a floating IC is there, means loss in the home, loss of the home, loss within the home. It can be a hard transit. It can mean hard things can happen over the next couple of years to do with your home. But you can also just move, right? South Node over the 4th house can be moving from your home and homeland even. Okay, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. But I want to point out this is a very intense time because I talked earlier about that Mars South Node. I'll be doing an all signs video on that where there could be a critical moment. Decisions, actions need to be taken, cutting, severing of something in the home or someone from the home. Now, earlier though, on the 24th of September, give or take 3 days on either side, what we see is this Mars moment as he opposes Chiron and Hercules. If you're working too hard in a purposeful career, or you're feeling wounded in your career path, or if you're just working too hard in your career, you're going to have to break that tension on the 24th of September. And the way you break it is you get into some Juno Venus second house modes, which is, why don't you get someone else to help you with your business, partner with your money? Why don't you get your marriage partner to support you with their money? Why don't you make some crossroads financial decisions about your earnings and how you earn money and what you want to do with your values around money, that allow for some breakthrough energy in the second house of earnings? Even though you have domestic versus career tension in the sky, the breakthrough is in the earnings house. And I would say Juno can also have you partner with someone, so you're not doing everything yourself. So a business partner is basically what that can look like. And that can really support a breakthrough financially if you don't do everything alone. Also, contracts and agreements, Venus, the arts, crossroads, thresholds, decisions. Some of you, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, we have a new business contract, a new agreement, especially if it involves anything to do with book publishing, because Venus is the exaltation lord of that part of your sky. So getting an agent, getting a contract for an agent. Mercury, of course, will trundle into this part of the sky too. I forgot to put him in here. Well, just trust me. So let's add Mercury. I don't know why he's out of the picture again. Seriously, guys. There he is. But he will eventually make it into Libra as well as we move into October around the 5th. And that is so good for, what's eventually looking like some of you may be buying and selling a home. But what also may be happening, Cancer, is that Mercury is the agent or the negotiations guy. And Libra is library, Libra book as well. You could be looking at contracts for books and book publishing coming through this transit of Mars in this Libra part of your sky through to October the 11th. By the way, you're taking aim, right, for what you want for safety and security and home with that Diana thing. And when that square to Mars comes, there's some critical decisions you're going to be making, right, in the last week of September to do with your home and home life. And maybe just actually asking someone to leave the home. Maybe you've got too many people in the home and it's time to lighten the load, and maybe ask a kid to denest, or hopefully not ask your spouse to leave. All right, so here we have Leo, sun, moon, but especially rising sign. So when Mars moves August 27th to October the 11th through your Libra part of your sky, he's moving through your third house. Now, this is a transit that happens every 2 years, but it never looks this busy, I tell you. So I didn't even talk about Athena. That's a whole other story. What we've got going on down here is we've got a whole lot of change over the next couple of years in your third house. For Leos, it can change the neighborhood, environments, your relationship with your neighbors, your relationship with your siblings, especially younger. This could be very much a sibling going through a challenge, by the way. When Mars is here, challenges with your siblings, or they're having challenges in their lives and you're on the sidelines watching, or you may, especially a younger siblings, or it could be challenges with cousins even. And all of this energy down here is that Mars is trying to make a change of direction, and the South Node is trying to let go of something. So you may change your neighborhood. You may also let go of travel. If you love to travel and you're a big traveler, well, South Node means less travel for you over the next 2 years, a depletion of short distance travel and adventures. Well, at the same time, Mars is making some kind of cutting and severing of those, maybe travels. The third house can be your writing and communicating house, your website, and there's changes here as well with this long Mars transit. Maybe you're very passionate and very busy and very action oriented down here as well. Creating new momentum in your online world and your business, on your platform, and your social media, etc. I kind of want you to also think about the third house in terms of those trips that you're not taking because you're so busy doing something more local. Like, why are you so engaged in the local area that your neighborhood is suddenly so important? Mars here does like to travel, but you have to be careful for injuries through vehicular cars and moving vehicles. So be careful during, when Mars was in my third house for 6 months, a couple of years ago during a long stay, somebody trashed my parked car, totally totaled it by crashing into my parked car. I wasn't in it. So I'd be careful for accidents and injuries for your car itself or yourself. Mechanics might need to look at your car. Okay, it could be very auto body shop like August 27th to October 3rd for Leo, sun, moon, and rising. Venus is in the house of you. She's breaking the tension between the 9th house and the 3rd house. You want to travel, and Chiron is up here with the Hercules of the labor saying no travel. It's not, or yes, let's travel, but to a spiritual ashram, a guide, a teacher, a mentor. Let's get some guidance going. A therapist, a psychologist could be useful to you at this point. But there's also tension in the ninth house, of which can be father figures. And so father figures, woundedness, lots of labors and hard work with that, patriarchal father figure energy, and tension that you're experiencing from the third house of communication, sharp written words maybe to a patriarchal figure. Chiron is like, in the house of legal agreements, visas, of course, foreign travel. And Venus wouldn't be okay with that, right? Here she is, Venus and Juno and the thresholds goddess of decisions in the house of you. We're doing a lot of videos on Venus and her long stay, 4 months in your sign. You are magnanimous, charismatic, charming, beautiful, likable, Miss Congeniality, Mr. Congeniality right now. And you do not mind going on trips. I mean, she's like, I would love to take short trips. I would love to go foreign lands. I would love to hang out with my siblings and have fun. I think you might be looking at a time in which you might be getting more opportunities to travel, but less chance to say yes. Okay. And you're breaking the tension with Juno. What kind of vow, commitment, or agreement can you make to yourself, first of all, but with a Chironic figure? Commit to your professor, commit to your teacher, commit to your therapist, commit to your guru, your guide, your healer, in some way. But you make that commitment. Ninth house can also bring kind of luck and prosperity, and Venus does the same. And you could see a little luck and prosperity coming through the sky around the third week of September. But you're making your own luck happen. And it involves the online world, maybe the third house, where Mars is pushing with great will and ambition for success. And he's even, accompanied by this strategic Athena and the sun for vitality. So a lot of strategic choices to do with your online world, if you have such a thing, your writing, your blogging, your communications house, can really look good on your finances as well. Mercury is busy trying to conjure up new financial deals for you through his long stay in Virgo as well. All right, Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, I like this and I don't like this. This is good, this is not so good. If you're a live premiere, hit the like button. If you don't hit the like button, then that's fine, but it does help the channel grow. Thank you so much. When Mars is in the second house, it tends to spend money. It's also a self-starter. If you're a Virgo sun, moon, and rising, and you want to start your own business, especially rising, you might get some new business off the ground here. You may get your own thing going to create some side hustles or some extra money in your life. But be careful. Mars tends to spend when he's in the second. In Libra, he's not in great debility. You might spend a lot of money on things that are Libra and that are about art and beauty. And then all of a sudden you realize, oh, shoot, I didn't mean to spend so much money, because your earnings are being depleted over the next couple of years. You're moving away from the hustle and the drive to earn money, and you're moving toward resilience and reliability on investment monies, 401k monies, inheritance monies, spousal support monies, other kinds of monies over the next couple of years. This is the first indication, though, that you may have to rein in some spending. All right. And you might find that your August 27th to October 11th Mars transit through your Libra second house is literally a wake-up call about a budget, or how to rein in the money that goes out and spend less. You do have Abundantia here. You do have ops here. And those are good things. That challenges Mars. And Mars in the South Node can collide to be looking like, oh, where'd all my abundance go? So be cautious. Use strategy, Athena. And use wise strategy to rein in expenses, basically. Selling possessions, getting rid of possessions, dumping possessions can happen with Mars here over those weeks as well. Because there's a Chironic opposition from the 8th house, what is this deep wound that you may have that has to do with sexual intimacy, shame? Maybe you have a wound or some challenge that you've been struggling Herculean labors to overcome, to do with the money you share with a resourceful spouse, or money you might have from inheritances. And you could find that this is also a woundedness around money you owe somebody. Sometimes, that money we have to pay out to the bank, to the credit card company or something is there, and there's this wound around that as well, especially if you hold a lot of debt, whether it's a big jumbo mortgage or a credit card, getting out of debt. Basically, karma's trying to heal that feeling of shame and debt issues. Chiron can look like a spiritual guide, mentor, and teacher if it's an occult guy. If it's somebody like I talk to dead people or I teach you how to hypnotize people, out of something like that. But I think for most practical purposes, for most Virgo people, I'll give you an example. What if you feel wounded by the fact that your spouse won't share their money with you? And you realize they're not really supporting you the way you want. And you've been laboring to correct that. With the North Node going through the 8th house, your business partner or spousal partner's lack of generosity will be on your radar. And you'll be also finding other ways to rely on other unearned income rather than just one person. And this could flare the tensions and shared resources with financial resources with a marriage or long-term committed love partner being flared up between August 27th and October 11th, but with a resolution around agreements that can happen to resolve the problem around September 24th, give or take 3 days. Those agreements may have to do with things that are hidden. It's Venus Juno in the 12th. Do you have a hidden addiction? Do you have some secret hidden bed pleasure problem? But Venus and Juno are like, okay, and triple thresholds goddess, let's resolve this financial problem, the access of money through the 12th house. Well, you could set up an online payment processor, Stripe, and get revenue from foreigners and foreign shores, ka-ching. Or you could resolve some kind of undealt with karmic difficulty or addiction or self-undoing pattern that's holding you back from your own financial success around September 24th. You could go into addictions counseling with Chiron on the 8th, Venus, Juno, and Hecate in the 12th. There's a possibility some of you may want to purchase a property connected to a foreign land during this whole August 27th, October 11th transit. Is that the best idea for you? Possibly. But Jupiter's retrograde until December 3rd. So don't make any major life purchase decisions around foreign countries or moving to another country until you get him direct after that. In my humble opinion, for your chart. All right, Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign. Let's go into the narrative. What happens here, Libra, is that you have this amazing experience of a stellium in the house of you, especially Libra rising, sun, moon secondarily. Look at the jumbo amount of action going on here in September. So starting August 27th to October 11th, Mars does his every 2-year entrance into the sign of Libra. This is where you can find yourself more decisive, but also more self-critical. You can find yourself more action-oriented, but also more passive aggressive or unnecessarily diplomatic when you really wanted to tell someone to F the hell off. And this is where you also carry a sword, but it's not always visible. You've got this kind of like way of kind of pulling it out when people don't expect it. So you have to be careful that your marriage partner, your business partner, significant long-term love, or clients don't get sharp sword action from you out of the blue because, you're not handling this as well as you might. You like peace, diplomacy, balance, and harmony. You're a Libra. You don't want to upset anyone's apple cart, even your own. But Mars is the guy who tips the damn cart over. And you've got Mars there acting through you. So you're embodying this warrior when you're a lover, right? So it's not the easy place. You might have to tell a marriage partner, business partner exactly where you stand. Stand your ground. Hold your boundaries. August 27th, October 11th. You can find yourself prone to injury. Be careful, like cutting yourself, falling down, skinning your knee when Mars is in the first house. You could also find yourself feeling like you are wanting to cut and end and sever a lot of things to do with your life. Change where you live, change your career path, change your marriage relationships, change your way you relate to your children, your friends. A lot of desire for some directional change is what Mars is initiating. He's at the helm of the chart. He's steering your life with you right now. Now, I do like that you have abundance and Spica and ops and all this juicy stuff here, right? Happening. The asteroids are going through. You're feeling more abundant, more prosperous, more opportune in your life at this time. However, there is this like moment of tension going on around the 24th where Mars goes into combat with Chiron in your 7th house. And Hercules, the warrior, is there too. The great labors thereof. Divine Hercules. Well, You may be feeling wounded, Libra, with that business partner relationship, with that significant committed love relationship. And that wound has been being felt by you since 2019. You're trying to heal an essential wound to do with relatingness to others. Even your audience, you're like, my audience doesn't appreciate me. My marketplace doesn't get me. I attract wounded clients that are just really painful and difficult and combative with Hercules. And there we go, and now you're trying to fix it. Well, how do you fix it? Not with a sharp sword. You fix it because of Juno. A friend can broker peace between you and your marriage type partner. An ally or benefactor can offer a solution legally, Chiron the fourth, to a situation to do with new actions and directions you want to take. But literally, Juno is a vow, a commitment energy. Like, let's commit. Let's make a deal. She's also Moneta, the goddess of money, and Venus and her are in the house of great gains. You may have a threshold turning point for a great gain in your career, especially with Diana squaring this whole thing up here, creating a T-square basically. So you may be finding yourself having to take aim in a fiercely independent way for your career path, right? In order to create great gains. And so for some of you, it looks like a new job. For some of you, it looks like this is a new opportunity for a new job, new work, raise, promotion for sure, but maybe just a new job. But you have to aim for it. I mean, she's got a freaking, archer bow huntress vibe with the arrows behind her back. This is Diana. And so you may take aim around the 24th of September, at a few days after before, to apply for a new job or a promotion or a raise. You're going to have to focus on it, but you could get it here. So we're going to go with that. Hopefully that's useful. Hey, Scorpio, sun, moon, but most accurate, usually rising sign. And if you're still in the live premiere, you're hanging out for this long video, please hit that like button. I very much appreciate your help in growing my channel. You guys are the best. I really mean that. I'm so delighted with the crew on my premieres. So here we have it. We have this Mars transit August 27th to October the 11th through your 12th house. Now, your 12th house is a house that is very much about your more unconscious part of your life. You can say it's where you have deep insights, where you can have downloads from a meditation, where you get insights from past life regressions, where you can access your inner life. It's a spiritual moksha house, and Mars going through here is making a huge amount of a splash. Do you want to liberate spiritually? Do you want to wake up from the dream? Is enlightenment a part of your desire in this life? Well, certainly Mars here will cut away all that is not elephant. Master, how do you carve the perfect elephant every time? From the block of jade, says the student to the Zen master carver, and the master says, I simply carve away all that is not elephant. Mars is carving away all that is not enlightenment. If you want enlightenment, Mars going through here helps you out. But on the other hand, watch out that you're not ending up in a situation with that Mars transit where you find yourself injured, or a friend injured, or somebody injured, and in a hospital, because the 12th house are hospitals. Usually it's not about you, it's somebody else. With the sun also accompanying Mars, a solar figure in the hospital, a male, a patriarchal figure, a father figure in the hospital, injured, accidents. Mars rules heart issues as well. Sudden events in health with a father figure could happen here. Or it just could happen, especially with Mercury eventually coming into this house as well. I won't get into that late. That's another story. We'll skip it for now. Now, the other thing I want to say with this energy is that you're coming into a spiritual time anyway. The South Node moving through your 12th house of moksha, liberation, and attainment through to January of 2025 is an opening of spiritual magnitude that happens every 18 years, right? So you can take advantage of it. If you want to harness this, you can actually use this in your own life in order to spiritually awaken. So if that's something that's in your wheelhouse of possibility, go for it. Travel to foreign countries can happen here. For a lot of you, August 27th to October 11th, off you go, gallivanting off to a foreign land, traveling and adventuring away. If you do, you may go back to places you've been before, or places that feel like you've been before, like, oh, I feel like I lived here in a prior life. If you have addictions, you get rid of them. You're cutting, ending, severing any kind of undoing, self-sabotage addiction. Now, there's a critical kind of September 24th opposition to Hercules, Chiron, and the North Node, of course, in your 6th house of work routines, health routines, pets, tendencies, debts, karmic and real. And you're going to come into a critical tension because things that are happening in the 12th house are not working out for what's happening in the 6th. This can be your health and work. Just like you could come into a health challenge that's going to really shake things up around the 24th, but be resolved. But it really feels more work-like. It feels more work-like because of this 10th house Juno Venus. Now, tension with somebody in the workplace, working too hard, having a wound around the coworker, colleague, workspace, and some kind of tension with something deep within inside yourself. More like, hidden enemies, I must say, is a 12th house, and you could have hidden work enemies, colleagues and coworkers who don't have your back, and you're having to deal up that story around the 24th of September. But how do you also become your own worst enemy when it comes to work and health? And are you overworking? I bet you are. Chiron, Hercules, North Node. You're going to overwork anyway. And North Node in the 6th house over the next couple of years. But September 24th, take a look at this overwork question, or working too hard, or being wounded in the workplace. And then you have this breaking through of the tension with Venus, Juno, and the thresholds goddess in the 10th house of reputation and career. For sure, some of you are having a breakthrough in your career and workspace, but it's coming after dealing up some significant tensions in the 12th 6th house axis. Now, I don't know, you may find that you want to break away literally from a particular place of work. And if you do want to do that, it's a crossroads decision, but it has some Venus, Juno contracts, agreements, business partnerships, opportunities, and Venus is going direct. So I think a lot of you can get basically out of a difficult workplace that's belaboring you, and maybe that hasn't allowed you to pay off debts or pay down debts, and move into a happier space. You're healing something to do with real estate, property, land earlier in the month of September, and the work or the debt place. So some of you may rent a new place, rent a new home. You could even sell a new home with this chart. Once we get Mercury into Libra, if you want to sell a property, not a new property, sell a property when Mercury gets into Libra a bit later on, which will be in early October, you can definitely look at the property sale as being a possibility, and healing some kind of feeling like you need to find a more healing home, or a healing of some problem regarding home, property, and real estate. Like maybe finally you get a buyer or a sell or an offer on that. Taking aim, right? Diana, the huntress, up in the 9th house. What's your dharma? What's the meaning of your life? Can you aim for that at the end of the day? This is very Metacosmos 6, 12, 9. Kind of asks you to lean into a deeper connection to your truest gifts and talents, purpose, and self direction of dharma in the world. Like, what are your right actions for? What's your true path? Some of that's coming up for a lot of you Scorpios around the 24th of the month, give or take 3 days on either side. Okay, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. And in that live premiere, please hit my like button. Okay, guys, Lori's getting ready for her end of long video. I don't know what it is today, a Negroni, martini. Oh, she should take a walk first and exercise, and she will do that. I doth digress. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Oh my goodness. Well, let me say one thing. You've got Bacchus traveling through here. He's for another video, but I'll be putting him into my Venus video shortly for next month. But you're feeling like you want to get in touch with what deeply divinely intoxicates and inspires you, okay? That's what you're feeling these days. But you've got this Mars moving through your 11th house, cutting, ending, severing, releasing, letting go of friends. A lot of you Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising will find that this transit, August 27th to October 11th, you'll lose some friends. I don't know, you lose them anyway. You have a fight, gnarly fighting with a friend, disagreements with a friend, but also cutting and severing because someone moves or leaves, town or moves away. Mars here can also mean arguments with your friends and social groups, or you could have some kind of depletion in the gains you normally experience from your career path, especially with the South Node here over the next couple of years. Depletion, softening, releasing, and letting go of the greater gains from your career. Maybe you're going to quit your job or retire or something. The North Node moving through your 5th house with Chiron, Hercules around September 24th is going to open up some kind of tension in the middle of this month of September, 3rd week, actually, September 24th, add 3 days on either side. Well, you could be dealing with a wound around a child, around fertility, pregnancy, or an existing child, or sexuality and romance. Go back to 2019 when the wounded one entered here, the Chiron. Where do you feel maybe some kind of unhealable wound with those situations? Or if you've been entrepreneurial or you're an artist and you're very creative, even feeling wounded since 2019 about those things in your life. Nonetheless, say you're single and wounded because you're perpetually unloved. Well, Chiron is here to help heal you, but the North Node over the next 2 years can bring out a very intense, passionate, and powerful new romantic story. And who's to say? I will say that if you are looking for love and you are single and you're a Sag, or you're in a love story and you want to deepen it, Venus, Juno, and Hecate in the ninth house can do that for you. Especially if it's a third marriage you want to lean into, like you're going to have a third marriage or you're on your at least your third marriage partner. And also Venus, Juno is like committed love in a foreign land. Okay, committed love through trips and travel to foreign lands. Committed love to because of things you're doing with thresholds, crossroads decisions. Now, if you have unresolvable tension between you and a romantic sexual love partner, by the time you get Mercury into your 11th house in early October, you'll be making critical decisions whether you're going to cut, end, or sever. Because one thing about Juno is she's also the goddess of divorce. And that can break the tension because you realize it's finally time you want to wipe your hands clean of this relationship. And that can be true for some of you Sagittarius. So if you're single, you might meet someone, but if you're with someone, you could also be going, ugh, I'm done. And of course, Juno up here with Venus is in the house of courts and legal matters, as well as visas, by the way, and travel papers. But, this could be also looking to get legal advice about a relationship you're in and whether you want to continue to commit or end, sever or cut. Or whether or not, because of Diana, the huntress here, in a T-square to all of this, is there some kind of thing you need to really focus on and take aim and be boldly, huntressy like about money you share with a significant relationship partner, if you have an existing relationship, because that's really at a critical juncture and there's some kind of big energy there for you. Okay, moving on. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign, especially rising sign. If you're a Capricorn, August 27th to October the 11th, you have the traveling Mars through your 10th house of career. Oh, God, 6 out of 10 times people quit jobs here, or someone in your job place quits or leaves, or you quit or leave, or you walk away or end or sever. Keep that in mind. It's a reputation part of your chart too, not just your job and career. It's like, are you single, divorced, widowed? And there's a visible change of status because Mars is up here, acknowledged in the public eye that you're no longer this or that, but you're changing your status, for example. Especially true for Capricorn rising, less so for Sun. Capricorn Sun, changes in your reputation regarding your career and work are more likely. Because you have Mars moving through here, as I said, every 2 years, it's nothing new. This time, however, the South Node is here. We haven't seen that since 1987 with South Node Mars together. So you might want to go back, as I said earlier in the video, to things that were going on in 1987. This is an energy that is really asking for some sort of major decisions to change some direction, perhaps in your career space and reputation space, but you're also letting go. You're releasing, surrendering. There's like you're losing air in the tire of your reputation and career space for the next couple of years, basically. And Mars is here just adding fuel to the fire. And I would say that a lot of you are looking at, like, if you thought there was going to be abundance and opportunity in the career direction space, some of you are going, that's not where it's going to come from. Let's let that go. I'm going to be more strategic, Athena, and make some critical decisions regarding that career and reputation area of my life. You do have a lot of tension here on the 24th of September. Add 3 days on either side between things going on in your domestic, private, and home life, Chiron and Hercules, the labors thereof, and some inflammation and intensity with the North Node in Aries. So here's a thought. Do you have, by any chance, which is Mars's house, some kind of feeling wounded about your homeland, where you live, what your home is like? Are you looking for like to settle into a home, basically? But the wound has been there since 2019 and doesn't fully clear till 2026. You may have to heal some childhood wounds, basically. Childhood wounds, woundedness around childhood stories, childhood events. Hercules, a labor to heal them. You've been trying to heal some of those early childhood imprints from mom and dad ever since 2019 as a Capricorn in order to flourish in life. And you're coming to a critical window that you can heal something on the 24th of September, 3 days on either side at least, if not longer. You're going to also heal some financial wounds as well to do with earnings and income with Hygeia here. And some good news is coming as Mars trines Hygeia early in September, giving you a bit of a healing on the financial front. The solution of the tension of the 24th of September resides in the 8th house of chunky money, stock investments, inheritance money, shared resources with a spouse or business partner, money coming from insurance companies, insurance payouts, inheritances. This is a place where the action is happening. Now, Mars does rule your 11th house of friends as allies and benefactors and elder sibling as he goes through this critical turning point in some kind of chunky money story. Think about those people that can help you be resourceful, who are like a sibling, elder sibling, benefactor, ally, patron, etc. But I do think that Juno here is, what do you need to make a moneta? She's also the goddess of currency. What do you need to make a major decision to agree to commit to regarding situations to do with money and a threshold crossroads situation that is evolving around the 24th of September? It may also involve, again, property, home, land, real estate. It's a 4th house, 8th house matter. It certainly can be a good time to buy a house because contracts and agreements and vows in the 8th house of mortgages with Venus and thresholds decisions. Some of you may just go, what the hell, I'm going to buy this property. Would you be planning to buy a property, or would it be unexpected? No, that's a good question. Lori's thinking about it. I don't know. I really don't. But all I can say is that it's, for some of you, it could be an opportune time that's breaking through the sky as you're getting ready to cut away and sever some of that reputation part of your sky. And it could look like an opening September 24th to buy or sell property. Okay? And finally, yeah, Pluto's leaving your sign. Hallelujah. Next January. But he'll be back for a dip in the fall of 2024. But you're getting rid of that bugger. He's getting out of there for you. So good for you guys. All right. Hit the like button in the live premiere. Make my channel grow with me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Aquarius sun, moon, especially rising sign. Well, what goes on here, Aquarius? First of all, you're doing a lot of healing, right? You can see Hygeia moving through the house of you. This is medical, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual healing. You're embodying the archetype of healing right now. Preventative healing, all kinds of healing. As Aquarius rising, I'm doing sober September. Not that I'm sober, but I'm doing a super deep cleanup. So that can be like hygiene to your body for a lot of us. Now, what we have going on is that August 27th, October 11th, we have our every 2-year transit of Mars Libra. Now, Mars loves to travel, adventure, and this could be adventures and travel to foreign lands, foreign shores, and far off places. August 27th to October 11th, or ambitious, passionate, focused, directional engagement in academic environments, book publishing, court and legal matters, your lawyer is fighting his ass off for you, or conflicts with a patriarchal father figure. You do have the South Node here, depleting, releasing, surrendering, letting go of things that are all 9th house. Letting go of something. It can be letting go of your foreign land travel. I hate to say it, but watch them put all those COVID restrictions back in, and here we go. Less travel to foreign countries again, less travel in general. The South Node for going through this part of your sky can really open you up to a more spiritual connection to the divine will, divine intelligent design, the connection with God herself, itself. This is a spiritual transit for you. It's flowing to the house of you. Pluto will be coming into the house of you next year. You're powering up. This can be very good for your spiritual life and finding your spiritual essence of your life, the meaning of your life, by connecting to surrender. You think you know the meaning of your life. You think you know the direction that you're supposed to go. And then South Node in the 9th house can empty out some of those things so that something new can show up. I think that this transit of Mars through the 9th house can sometimes look like conflict with a father figure, or endings and severing of connections to a father-like figure, basically. The tension on the 24th of September between Chiron and Hercules in the North Node in your third house could be tension. First of all, this is a house of siblings, but most likely the youngest, right? It may not be your story. They may have hard work, Chiron healings going on. They've been trying to heal themselves since 2019, but you may be healing those relationships with younger siblings, cousins, but also with travel, also with your website, also with your blog, also with your social media platform, also with your writing projects. Chiron asks you to step up and, resolve anything that needs to be fixed in that part of your chart. But also go into that place of wisdom and the deeper part that Chiron represents, kind of the mentor guide. Get a writing mentor, get an online guru mentor, get a website mentor or something. So that's a long story, started in 2019. Ends in to be the mentor for others. This is a house of skills-based teaching. Maybe you're going to teach others. Boy, oh boy, can I tell you, since 2019, I did the Do What You Love with the Magic You're Born For mentorship program for people. I've done, teaching and mentoring people in astrology. So it puts you in the mind to be a mentor, guide, and teacher, especially online, especially in skills-based learning. Okay, so there's this tension between that part of your sky on the September the 24th and what the heck is going on in the 9th house. I hate to say for me, but I'm launching Sky Reader around that time, and it may be that foreign land travel adventures are calling me, and they're in conflict with what I'm trying to create in my third iteration of Sky Reader, fourth time I'll be teaching that program. You can be passionately, actively engaged in 9th house matters as well, seeking a court outcome, battle to succeed in it, finding an agent for a book and things like that. The tension that we're seeing on the 24th, give or take 3 days, is being broken by Venus and Juno in the 7th house of committed love. Well, seriously, this could be that your main squeeze, your number one love partner, is helping soothe some difficult tensions here. It can be that you find a new contract or agreement or business contract or agreement or business partnership as an outlet for what's going on in this tension between the travel houses, for example. You might find also with this triple thresholds goddess that travel opportunities with a business or love partner are opening up for you around the 24th of September. But you may also have to look at the tension here. You're working hard in third house matter. Are you writing a book? Are you working on your website? Are you hustling in the neighborhood for some reason to do something important? And it takes your hard work, and all of a sudden there's this opportunity for travel, and it kind of is at odds with the 7th house matters. Like the 7th house is traveling with your beloved, traveling with the business partnership. If it comes to clients, audience, and marketplace, Venus in the 7th house is great for us Aquarius risings, bringing us beautiful new clients, amazing new people, and new success in the public eye. All right. YouTube channel has been going crazy since June when Venus entered here. But Venus connecting to Juno is, do you need to deepen a commitment to a business partner or to a love partner? Do you need to make an explicit, deeper commitment that's going to create a threshold turning point energy in your life? And you're aware of that change on the 24th of September, give or take a few days on either side. Because once that Mercury gets out of your 8th house where you've been busy dealing with your taxes, your debts, your credit cards, focus on those matters, focused on your occult mysteries, stuff like that. Excuse my language. As Mercury gets into early October into Libra, that's definitely a travel signature, guys. Okay. It is okay, Mars and Mercury in your 9th house, you are gallivanting if you can, traveling to foreign countries, foreign shores, or with a foreigner. And if you're single, looking for love in all the right places, and you're Aquarius rising especially, this could look like, oh my goodness, something really nice is trying to happen, September 25th. Or 4th and into October, they could bring you a new relationship. Okay, I'm moving into the Pisces story next. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, whether you're listening in the premiere or you're listening to this later. All right, it's time to talk about you guys, Pisces. You have your once every 30-year transit of Saturn through the house of you, giving you a more sober and realistic view of reality, thank goodness, and helping dispel the fog that Neptune's been putting in your face since 2011 about reality itself. And you've got a real kind of solid vibe here with this transit, even though he's retrograde of Saturn. Just backstory, right? Reminding you of that, because that's true till 2026. Make your dreams real in a formidable, structurally realistic way. But we see that Mars has entered on August 27th, October 11th, your 8th house of chunky money. With the South Node, this can be financial losses. You must be careful. This can look like spousal support, alimony, divorce settlements that don't go so well for you. This can look like losses in the stock market. This can look like really challenging situations if you're relying on money that isn't earned. If you thought, oh, that trust fund's going to take care of me. No, this is not true. Not now. And Mars is bringing you into a conscious awareness of what battles you need to pick to find balance in your finances, in your debts, in your earnings, to saved resources stories. Mars here can be very effective at ending, cutting, and severing, or stopping or ending where there's depletion in your longer range financial stories. Mars here can bring inheritance monies. It depends on what area of your charts he's available to give you inheritances from, but he can bring inheritance monies from an elder sibling because he is the exaltation lord of your 11th house. He's also quite capable of allowing you, with this Mars transit, to go really deep into your more sexual intimacies in your life. I mean, because Mars is about that passion and sexual energy itself in the house of deeper or tantric level or even kink sexual energy. And the South Node is that spiritual place. So we're talking a very alchemical, mystical, sexual awakening energy can really kick in for some Pisces in their lives. August 27th, October 11th. Now, we've been seeing you feel wounded in your financial earned resources since 2019 with the transit of Chiron through the earnings house. And at this time, you're facing a squarely kind of a way to all the hard work that could happen here, or all the hard labor that should happen here, and it will, right? It will. North Node in the second house, right through to January 25, you're going to get your hustle on. A lot of Pisces are going to start to create new flow of earnings and resources and possessions in their lives. And you feel this tension here. September 24th, add 3 days on either side or more between what you have in your unearned income sources and what you have or not have in your earned income sources. So it's a big tension moment here in the sky, resolved by a Venus in the 6th house with Juno and the crossroads goddess. Now, first of all, 6th house is debt, karmic and otherwise. Venus is a benefic, moving directly, a contract or agreement to remove a debt from your life. Credit card, mortgage, I don't know what it is. And possibly once Mercury enters here in October, some kind of positive financial developments around property, land, home, and real estate. Buying and selling property, renting a new property, things to do with those sorts of matters could be very important for you as October unfolds. You may find that you are sitting on some opportunity, Venus, at 6th house, to benefit from a female colleague or workplace setting person. Could open up a door of financial opportunity, maybe through an opportunity for employment, or somebody that you know from a workspace setting. Especially during the Venus retrograde cycle, which is going to end on September 4th, there could be old colleagues from the past returning. I will say that with Juno being currency coins, moneta goddess, and Venus being a goddess of money, and they're both in the 6th house, money is coming through the works part of the sky, right? So we were not looking at it like dropping out of heaven and hitting you on the head necessarily. You want to take aim here for where your passions are, Pisces. Like what turns you on, what really excites you, what makes you want to get out of bed in the morning, because Diana, the huntress, is trying to take aim on the answer to those questions. And that money tension can be resolved through that T-square tip that she represents. To find that place where you can be the huntress for your deepest passion and the muse of inspiration. Now, this is a real stretch. I'm going to admit it's a real stretch. Okay? But where Diana the Huntress is taking aim is also the house of winning money. So for some, very few of you, you may come into some winnings financially that can help clear some of this financial tension. And of course, that's going to be happening also September 24th and moving a little bit further towards the end of October. And anything else I want to say to you? Well, I mean, honestly, Venus and Juno can look like, if you're single, starting to date somebody and it falls into deep commitment really quickly if you're single, but look out for those money tensions and make sure that you have clarity about what kind of shared resources you'd like to do with this person because you're committing so quickly. Second of all, this is also very much like getting a new job contract. It doesn't have to be full on forever, but this can be a new opportunity to commit, have a contract, turning points, thresholds, crossroads energies around work situations or a work situation evolving. And that's it. All right. Oh, thanks for listening, everybody. Hit that like button. If you're in the premiere, hit my like button. Check out all my stuff for sale in my, down below. Sky Reader starting on the third week of September, fourth time I'm teaching it. Come jump in. Love teaching this class. It's so much fun to teach people how to be their own astrologer and time their best life. I'll give you the basic tools you need to do some basic predictions and forecasting for yourself. And my Patreon community promotion is on for $5 a month only. You can join and get all kinds of perks, including a gift right up front. You can unsubscribe anytime. $80 worth of value in the gifts I'm trying to give you to test pilot my Patreon community, because you can unsubscribe anytime and it's no harm done. You've lost $5. So check it out. And that's about it. I am recording on for my Patreon community early on August the 23rd. This goes public on the 24th. They get it on the 23rd. Normally you Patreon community people, or they do get this content up to a week or months before sometimes. And yet this time I just got back from vacation and I'm behind my production schedule. And I also... I'm not editing this out. And also I had a bit of COVID in August. Oh, I'm so sorry. If anyone was listening with headphones, I'm so sorry. I don't have time to edit. It's got to go out on the 24th. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was my soulmate, James, who happens to be a Pisces rising, Capricorn anoretic sun, being a bugger, hiding behind me in my office and scaring the bejesus out of me. He's such an imp. Oh my God. All right, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Bye, everyone. See you on the next video, which I can't even remember what it's going to be. Oh my God.